How this property made me over £15,000 in just one day. I'm talking about my favourite boring vanilla buy-to-let property. Here at Aspire, we practice what we preach. If you don't know what we do, we build portfolios for ourselves and investors in West and South Yorkshire. And this is Britannia Road in Huddersfield. It's our latest purchase. So what is it? It's a 3-bed semi-detached property in Huddersfield. Huddersfield was one of the fastest capital growth areas in the UK last year. What? A lot of you probably haven't even heard of it. There you go. It had almost 8% growth than the average of the UK last year. So it's pretty impressive. The property itself is, as I said, a 3-bed semi-detached property. And the main thing around this was the works that needed to get done. So it's not actually internal works. It cost about $13,000. I'll break down the numbers in a moment. But it was mainly the fascias of the property. The garden was so overgrown it needed skips to remove everything. And the couple that lived there, they were getting a divorce. They were amicable. It wasn't an angry one, but they needed to sell the property. They didn't have the 13 grand to spend on doing up the property to sell it off on the market. So they needed to sell it to an investor like us that was able to take advantage of the opportunity, add value to the property, and it helped them move on as well. How did we find it? People always ask me, how do you find all of these deals? Well, we actually find hundreds of properties, and I mean hundreds of properties every single month. And then we whittle it down. We do a full analysis, previewing. We've then got a 72-point checklist, which is absolutely crazy. Then we go and put in the offers. Then we go view the property. Then we price it up. And then we end up with 1 or 2 properties at the end. So most of them come through the same avenue. It was a Facebook ad. So when you're targeting anyone on Facebook, you need to think about your messaging. So this is called your copy, your words, and your image is called your creative. And so with your copy, you want to expose the pain point and then give them the solution. So think about why somebody would want to sell their property. It could be divorce, it could be struggling financially, it could be repatriation, they're moving somewhere else. Could be they're going up or down the ladder, upsizing or downsizing. Think of whatever it is, and then you can mention that in the ad. It talks to the individual and give them the solution, and you'll have leads in no time. So we got this through our Facebook ad, and we spend quite a lot. We spend probably about $20,000 a month now on advertisements, getting great properties. But you have to bear in mind, it's not just for me. We do it for our Aspire Property Group as well, help you build your portfolio. Top negotiation tip. So gone from marketing to sales now. When you're negotiating a deal, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use it in that ratio. You'll get on pretty well. If you can understand the people's reason, you then end up providing a solution. So I'll give you a famous one that we've all seen before from Wolf on Wall Street. He goes, sell me this pen. And you get these people going, well, this pen's the best pen in the world and it's got the best ink and it's, there's only one of these pens. It's like, that's not how you're meant to sell. And it's also why people don't like salespeople. But I'm telling you, you are a salesperson if you want to make money of any kind. So how should you sell the pen? Well, I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect at this, but it's like, sell me this pen. Well, okay, great. Well, before that, why is it you're in the market for a pen? Oh, to sign contracts. All right, and what do you sign contracts for? Oh, for our sign contracts for the investors coming on board with us. Okay, and what do you get them to use right now? Oh, just a Bic. And it's like, okay, why do you use a Bic? Oh, it's cheap and cheerful. It's only a pen, isn't it? I'll say, well, it depends on how you want to be perceived by the investor. How do you want to be perceived? Well, I want to be perceived as high value, a great brand. Aspire Property Group's the place for them to be. I should be building their portfolio. Great, and do you feel a Bic represents that? No. Okay, great. Well, this pen represents everything that we just spoke about. So you're going through that, and it's a weird example talking about a pen, I guess. But the reason why I'm saying it is negotiations start by listening, not by talking. So by understanding this couple's issue and what they were actually looking to move on with, I'm able to focus on that and then understand what money they needed in order to move on. And that helped us make the profit that we did, which I'll get to in a moment. As I mentioned, what we actually do at Aspire Property Group is we help people like you build your portfolio. So you might be watching this video going, I want to find great deals as well, but maybe you're not a marketeer, maybe you're not a good salesperson, maybe you can't be bothered going through that, or maybe you don't want to make the mistake. If that is you and you want me to build your portfolio for you, you need 50,000 minimum to invest in the property. That's not going to me. Put APG in the comments. So as I said, put APG, that's Aspire Property Group, in the comments if you want me to reach out. We can have a one-to-one phone call with myself or one of the team and talk about building your portfolio in 2024. So let's go through the numbers. This property had a RICS, that is a Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, valuation of £165,000, as you can see here. And when we're going through that, it's really important to understand the value of property. Now, we understand how to value properties inside out. We've got RICS accredited individuals that work for me. But if you don't, make sure you get an official valuation when you're looking at purchasing a property. It's not so much the numbers, by the way. It's usually if there's any issues with the property. So we got the RICS of 165, but we actually purchased it at 132,000. Now there were works to do to get it there. Now normally this would go to Aspire Property Groups, one of our investors, but because there was a lot of external works, which if you don't know this, external works, once you get rid of the garden and stuff like that, you can find a lot of problems. And you try going to an investor and go, by the way, I knew it was this, but now it's that. Hard conversation to have when they need to spend more money. So we took this one on ourselves. So 132 in there. We had the stamp duty on this property of just shy of £4,000, 1,500 in legals. We had about 500 in broker fees, 250 in the survey fees. We had about 1,600 of holding costs. What holding costs are is like your council tax, your bills, etc. When I'm doing this big of a refurbishment, which as I said was about 13 grand. Because it's external, you can't get people in the property whilst you're doing it. So you got all of those fees, and then it cost us about £1,000 on refinancing. So all in on this, we were £149,682, give or take. And all of that money went into purchasing the property. And one of the reasons we were able to get this property is we ended up purchasing the property cash. The reason for that is we knew we were going to refinance the property. Okay, so we put in the 149 grand. We've ended up refinancing at just above 165, closer to the 170. So we've ended up leaving in about 26,000 of our money, and we've got over 15,000. So £15,138 added equity. And so once that refinance come in, obviously it's in the property, but we've just made another £15,000. Now some of you will go, I could get a better deal. That's great, good for you. But I am in this for the boring, vanilla, buy-to-let investment that it is, and I'm in for the long term. This is in one of the highest growth areas in the UK, and with something called the South Bank development going into play and has been into play, those values are going to keep going. The prediction is that the investment is going to go up around 300% over the 20-year period, which, just to give you an idea of what that means for your investment, if you invested 100 grand, I say in Aspire, but it's for your properties, a year ago, you would have got a combined return, which is your cash flow and your capital growth, of almost 20% in a year. In general, the average investor that works with us and buys properties trebles their investment over, that's a 300% growth on their investment over a 10-year period. That's crazy, right? But those are the results that we're getting. And honestly, I'd love to go, it's because we're a genius. No, it's not. We follow economics. We follow the macro and the micro. We understand property, and we understand that you can either win quick or you can win big. Okay, and a lot of people focus on quick wins now where they get all their money out of a deal. It's just, yes, they are not in great areas though. Instead, what we want to be doing is investing in the long term. And this is one of those examples. I've put in 149 grand, valued at 165. We've got 15 grand added equity. I've only left in 26 grand. And because of the capital growth in this area, just so you've got an idea, the capital growth last year was 8% above anything else. Let's say it goes by 8% for another year. you're going to end up having 13,200 just from the capital growth. Now remember, we've left in £26,000. That is a 50% return on our investment just from the capital growth alone, and I'm not paying tax on that every single year like you do with your income. So are deals like that going to come along all the time? No, absolutely not. And that was a very particular deal. But what if I could get you double-digit returns every single year? And that's what we do day in, day out at Aspire. Now, hopefully this video has been helpful. Again, if you're watching this and you're new and you want to learn more about Facebook ads, negotiation, or any of those bits, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I've got some wicked videos coming up in the next month, and they're purely just to add value to you. If you have been watching and you know, like, and trust me by now, and you want to start investing in 2024, but you're not exactly sure where to place the money and how to do it properly, you need a minimum of 50,000 to invest. Put APG in the comments and we'll have a free one-to-one consultation session to see if we can even help you scale your portfolio in 2024, and we will treble your investment in the next 10 years.